Calling our students and educator listeners, we believe it's important that you stay up to speed on key cybersecurity issues and topics relevant to your classes. That's why we offer both students and teachers a deep discount on a CyberWire Pro subscription. Save time and money on quality content like exclusive podcasts, briefings, articles, and events, ad-free CyberWire podcasts, and much more. Contact us to receive your exclusive discount at thecyberwire.com/contact us. That's thecyberwire.com/contact us. And now, a message from our sponsor, CyberReason. If you're a defender fighting to protect your organization from cyber attackers, you must be successful ending attacks every single time. They only need to be successful once. CyberReason reverses the attacker's advantage. Their future-ready attack platform gives defenders the wisdom to uncover, understand, and piece together multiple threats, and the precision focus to end cyber attacks instantly. Learn more at cyberreason.com. Ghostwriter is back and has moved its chaos troops against fresh targets in Poland and Germany. The Naikon APT has a new secondary backdoor. Flubot, temporarily inhibited by police raids, is back and expanding its infection of Android devices across Europe. Microsoft is rethinking how much and with whom it wants to share vulnerability information. Joe Kerrigan examines a phone scam targeting Amazon Prime customers. Our guest is Zuri Bar-Yochai of Reblaze on open source software and scalability. And Signal's discovery of Celebrite issues is finding its way into court. From the CyberWire studios at Data Tribe, I'm Dave Bittner with your CyberWire summary for Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. Several security companies have released news about revived threats. We'll run through a few of the more prominent discussions. FireEye's Mandiant unit this morning updated its research into Ghostwriter, an influence operator that came to attention last year as it sought to affect public opinion in Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland. Its messaging then was anti-NATO. The campaigns of 2020 relied upon artlessly crude forgeries and implausible rumor-mongering, but of course disinformation doesn't need to be art as long as it can get the right amplification, which Ghostwriter worked to accomplish. It was easy for officials to quickly debunk such hogwash as the claim that Canadian soldiers were spreading COVID-19 or that an internal memo circulating in the Polish Ministry of Defense called for resistance against an American army of occupation. A forged memo, helpfully provided, hijacked social media accounts used to lend plausibility to a very implausible narrative. Cyberscoop offered a useful account of these efforts at the end of last July, but of course lies can have a bit of a run if they're provided with a head start. In any case, Ghostwriter has now expanded its thematic content to include disruption of domestic Polish politics, and also, according to Tagesschau, credential theft attacks on German political figures. FireEye believes the threat actor it tracks as UNC 1151 operates some portions of Ghostwriter. The firm characterizes UNC 1151 as a suspected state-sponsored cyber espionage actor that engages in credential harvesting and malware campaigns. Tagesschau calls the attackers chaos troops, which is apt enough for an operation that aims at disruption. At least 7 members of Germany's Bundestag have received phishing emails, as have some 30 members of the Länder Assembly, that is, the state-level legislators. German authorities are taking activity seriously. FireEye, as is its practice, doesn't attribute Ghostwriter explicitly to any government, but the firm does note that its activities are aligned with Russian security interests. This isn't, it appears, just prim policy on the company's part, but rather a recognition of the inherent challenges of attribution. FireEye writes in their full report, quote, "At this time, we do not attribute the Ghostwriter campaign to a specific actor or group of actors. Instead, we refer to Ghostwriter as an activity set, with various incidents tied together by overlapping behavioral characteristics and personas, rather than as an actor or group in itself." End quote. The report goes on to say, quote, "It appears based on the limited public information available regarding the website compromises we've tied to Ghostwriter that the actors behind the campaign are relatively well-resourced, either directly possessing traditional cyber threat capabilities themselves or having ready access to operational support from others who do. It is plausible that Ghostwriter operations are conducted by overlapping actors or groups that are also behind other influence campaigns or incidents of cyber threat activity." End quote. FireEye doesn't say as much, but the Ghostwriter actors do prowl and growl like bears. But their study is interesting as a case study in careful study of espionage and influence campaigns. Attribution is inherently difficult. Operational style rarely amounts to dispositive evidence. In American targeting jargon, this sort of evidence amounts to a set of possibly related target indicators, not clearly discerned targets. Bitdefender reports a new approach by the Naikon APT, a group it associates with the Chinese government. Active for more than 10 years, Naikon focuses on government and military targets in South Asia. It's now deploying a secondary backdoor nebulae, which Bitdefender believes plays an important role in the APT's persistence in victim networks. Flubot temporarily bopped when Spanish police arrested several of the hoods associated with the Android malware earlier last month, is back and expanding its geographical reach, Proofpoint reports. New infestations have been observed in the United Kingdom, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Poland, and Spain. Proofpoint expects Flubot to reach North America soon. Flubot infections begin with an SMS message baited with a bogus notification from a spoofed delivery service. Should the victim swallow the hook, Flubot installs a payload on their device that includes spyware, an SMS spammer, and credit card and banking credential stealers. According to Bloomberg, Microsoft is rethinking how it shares information with the 81 corporate members of the Microsoft Active Protection Program. Redmond suspects that some participants may have tipped off hackers when Microsoft gave MAP members early warning of the vulnerabilities Hafnium rapidly exploited and that were swiftly taken up by cybercriminals. Microsoft and most others regard Hafnium as a Chinese government threat actor. While Microsoft continues to see many advantages in MAP, it's reconsidering how much and with whom it ought to share in the future. At present, suspicion centers on 2 Chinese firms that participate in MAP. Bloomberg asked the Chinese government about the incident and received the pious bromide one might expect. Quote, "China resolutely opposes any form of online attacks or infiltration. This is our clear and consistent stance. Relevant Chinese laws on data collection and handling clearly safeguards data security and strongly oppose cyber attacks and other criminal activity." End quote. Beijing also offered some instruction for the media. Quote, "We hope the media adopts a professional and responsible attitude, relying on comprehensive evidence when determining the nature of cyberspace events, but not groundless speculation." End quote. So, okay then. And finally, inevitably, the vulnerabilities in Cellebrite's forensic tool that Signal recently exposed have found their way into the courtroom. Vice reports that defense attorneys for a convicted robber whose collar was enabled by data obtained using Cellebrite have entered a motion for a new trial. The lawyers argue, quote, "In essence, internal security on Cellebrite devices is so poor that any device that is examined may in turn corrupt the Cellebrite device and affect all past and future reports." They also argue that, quote, "A new trial should be ordered so that the defense can examine the report produced by the Cellebrite device in light of this new evidence and examine the Cellebrite device itself." End quote. This is, as Gizmodo suggests, unlikely to be the last motion of this kind. It's time to take a moment to tell you about our sponsor, Recorded Future. If you haven't already done so, take a look at Recorded Future's Cyber Daily. We look at it. The CyberWire staff subscribes and consults it daily. The web is rich with indicators and warnings, but it's nearly impossible to collect them by eyeballing the internet yourself, no matter how many analysts you might have on staff, and we're betting that however many you haven't got enough. Recorded Future does the hard work for you by automatically collecting and organizing the entire web to identify new vulnerabilities and emerging threat indicators. Sign up for the Cyber Daily email to get the top trending technical indicators crossing the web. Cyber news, targeted industries, threat actors, exploited vulnerabilities, malware, and suspicious IP addresses. Subscribe today and stay ahead of the cyber attacks. Go to recordedfuture.com/cyberwire to subscribe for free threat intelligence updates from Recorded Future. And we thank Recorded Future for sponsoring our show. There's a popular philosophy that making use of open source software not only has the potential to save time in your development process, but can lead to more secure outcomes as well. Zuri Bar-Yochai is co-founder and CTO of security company Reblaze, and he believes that for security, open source software is the way to go.
When it comes to cybersecurity, you should aim using as much as possible open source frameworks, open source platforms, and open source software. The reason is, when you use open source, the obscurity is a factor you remove from the equation. And if there is a bug of, say, security bug, vulnerability within the framework, the platform, the tool you're using, most likely with the popular open source to be fixed and corrected, even discovered quicker than within any other proprietary alternative. Open source today in security is actually used, I would say, almost everywhere, anywhere. If you're looking at TLS, SSL, HTTPS, secure web application, secure website, secure API, most likely the underlying software used is either OpenSSL or LibreSSL or any other implementation, all of them which are open source. Encryption, common encryption methodologies and techniques and algorithms are all open source, so it's everywhere. And most of the cases so far that we have been looking at, vulnerabilities were taken advantage by hackers, by malicious activities. Those actually were made exploiting and taking advantage of a time window of which the used software was known to have vulnerability, such as a CVE disclosure, and yet it took time for the organization to patch, to fix, to correct their platform, to update their platform, and to prevent against that what was up until that point a 0-day attack. So again, with open source, things are done usually quicker and faster.
And when you hear that folks are resisting the use of open source, what is typically the argument there?
I barely hear those voices, to be honest. I can imagine people still thinking that security by obscurity is still a thing, which obviously it isn't. So for them, proprietary, it's like a smokescreen that makes things harder for hackers to break in, which is not the case.
That's Zuri Bar-Yochai from Reblaze. And now, a word from our sponsor, Offensive Security. With the skills gap increasing, it's more important than ever to train your staff effectively and efficiently. Industry-leading Offensive Security provides training for your organization designed by the same minds behind Kali Linux and the OSCP. There are many options to fit your specific requirements, such as these offerings. With the OffSec Flex program, they cater to your organization's needs with the ability to train on your own flexible schedule. Plus, they fully support enterprises and organizations of all sizes. You can also learn the industry-leading OSCP certification through dedicated one-to-one mentoring and virtual training with OffSec Academy. This program is the most interactive opportunity, offering personalized instruction. Looking to develop your team's professional pen testing skills in highly realistic simulated networks? Try Proving Grounds Enterprise, created exclusively by Offensive Security's InfoSec experts. Visit offsec.com/CW to learn more. And we thank Offensive Security for sponsoring our show. And joining me once again is Joe Carrigan. He's from the Johns Hopkins University Information Security Institute and also my co-host over on the Hacking Humans podcast. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Dave.
You know, over on Hacking Humans, you and I cover a lot of stories about scammers and scams and people being victimized by these folks. And
Yes.
I want to highlight one of those stories. This is from the Chicago Tribune. Article written by Kimberly Fornick, and it's titled Indian Head Park Woman Loses $48,000 in Amazon Prime Phone Scam That Took a Month to Unfold, Sun says.
Right.
What's going on here, Joe?
So what happened was actually this woman was brought to police attention in early March, on March 4th, when she went to a grocery store and purchased two $500 gift cards. She's an older woman. She is 87 years old. And the clerk, who is actually, kind of an unsung hero in this story, the first thing this clerk does is call the cops and go, look, I think this lady's getting scammed out of some money because generally 87-year-old women don't come in here and buy two $500 gift cards.
Right.
And the police managed to find this woman. They went to her house, and the woman was adamant, absolutely adamant, that she had purchased these gift cards for family members. But come to find out, what had happened was she was a victim of an Amazon scam, and we're seeing these more and more in the news. People say the scammers call you up or notify you and say, hey, there was a big purchase made on your account, and we need to work this out, right? And I don't even know if this woman has an Amazon account. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But the scammer said it was a $600 purchase, and then it became a $6,000 purchase, and somehow he managed to get her to start sending gift cards to him. And he was saying, look, if you don't help me out here, I'm going to get fired, right? So he was playing on this woman's sympathies, her desire to help people, along with her fear of having to owe money for something she didn't do. But in the end, this guy had managed to get her to send him $48,000 worth of gift cards by constantly telling her, these gift cards, I can't access the money because you purchased them with cash. This is things that absolutely don't make sense to me, right? These are non sequitur statements. But to somebody who's not familiar with how gift cards work, it may make sense. There may be some kind of thing that you can that you can wrap your head around, or some kind of model that you can fit in there to complete the thing. But it's important to remember. It's important that we have to educate these people. Oh, well, one thing I want to say about this story is that this scammer did a remarkably good job at isolating this woman. She did not talk to people about it. She, when the cops showed up and asked her about it, she was prepared by the scammer. She was groomed by the scammer to say, no, I'm buying these for a family member. Even though because the scammer knows that's what's going to happen, is somebody's going to say, who are you buying this for? And the scammer says, you tell them that you're buying it for a family member, regardless.
Right.
Whatever they ask.
You don't want me to get in trouble. You don't want me to lose my job.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a gift card scam with a new angle, and I think maybe that's why they're going after it, is because Amazon does accept gift cards, but they have to be Amazon gift cards. So maybe they're instructing this woman, go out and buy some Amazon gift cards, because you can walk into any store and buy Amazon gift cards.
Right.
And if I'm pretending to be from Amazon, that might be a plausible scam. Yeah.
And I guess part of what we're after here is trying to get the word out to your loved ones. Most of us are probably in a situation where we're providing tech support for many of our family members who may not be as sophisticated when it comes to devices as we are.
Yeah.
And so part of that is educating them that if anybody asks you for anything having to do with a gift card, that is a big red flag.
Right. Absolutely. And the problem here is that this woman was isolated. So you have to get out there now and tell people about this, because once the scammer gets their talons into the victim, they're not letting go. And that victim is probably never going to tell you about it. which
Right.
is the way these guys want it. They want this to be an under the rug kind of event, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this case, the woman's son found out what had happened, and he was the one who went back to the police.
Right.
And as you mentioned earlier, she'd been conned out of $48,000.
$48,000, and there's probably nothing she can do to get that money back.
Nope. All right, well, go out there, tell your friends and family, remind them to be aware of these sorts of things. And, gift cards are red. It's funny, Joe, I was at the local Home Depot just last week. I was buying some stuff to, prep my gardens for spring. And right there next to the checkout was a sign that talked about gift cards. And
I had the exact same experience at Lowe's. Both Home Depot and Lowe's have these signs up, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a big sign that says that this is a scam. And good on Home Depot.
If someone has
Lowe's.
asked you to buy gift cards, it's likely a scam.
That's right. Thank you, Home Depot and Lowe's, for putting those signs up. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a shame it's gotten to that point where it's necessary, but here we are, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, Joe Kerrigan, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Dave.
Thanks to all of our sponsors for making the CyberWire possible. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. The CyberWire podcast is proudly produced in Maryland at the startup studios of Data Tribe, where they're co-building the next generation of cybersecurity teams and technologies. Our amazing CyberWire team is Elliot Peltzman, Peru Prakash, Kelsey Bond, Tim Nodar, Joe Kerrigan, Carol Terrio, Ben Yellen, Nick Valecki, Gina Johnson, Bennett Moe, Chris Russell, John Petrick, Jennifer Ivan, Rick Howard, Peter Kilpie, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And now, a word from our sponsor, ExtraHop, stopping advanced threats with network detection and response. Stopping advanced threats requires knowing exactly what you're up against. With 90 days look-back, ExtraHop Reveal X is the only solution that shows you not just where the intruders are going within your network, but where they've been. ExtraHop Reveal X provides complete visibility across cloud, data center, and IoT, even when traffic is encrypted. Powered by cloud-based AI, Reveal X finds threats in real time, while powerful investigation and forensics capabilities allow you to respond 84% faster. See how it works in the full production demo, free online at extrahop.com/cyber. That's extrahop.com/cyber.